Have you noticed how many dissatisfied Americans are leaving the United States and also many Canadians leaving Canada? They're moving abroad, and maybe some of these folks are your friends. My name is 𝐼𝐤𝐫𝐬𝐭, and I'm a marketing systems consultant who helps office professionals become location independent by building their money-making machine that makes money follow them wherever they go, get treated their best on earth. And today I'd like to walk you in the next few minutes through the top 10 reasons why some of your friends may be leaving their home country, whether it's Canada or the United States. Even some Europeans are doing the same today. And where are they going? Why are they leaving? And might you soon become one of them? Let me walk you through this and reveal to you why some friends are leaving. Well, many have had enough. Others haven't yet had enough. But the point is, there's going to come a point when you are likely to think just like them. What got them to that point where they decided to leave? If ever you've thought about leaving the US and maybe permanently move to a foreign country, you should realize you're not really alone. The Economist's YouGov 2022 poll recently revealed that nearly 4 out of every 10 Americans had given this very thought some consideration. And when you realize that about 10 million Americans have already moved out of the United States and that their rate of exit has already crossed the double digits, it's greater than 10% as of 2020, you may consider, are you really not beginning to reflect on something that is quite serious, maybe rather trendy? Where are these folks? Like I said, maybe some of your neighbors, some of your friends, co-workers, taking off to? What host nations are they becoming expats to? Top of the list, as one would expect being so close to the United States, the continental US that is Mexico. But also some of the other Hispanic and Mediterranean countries, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Costa Rica. Some folks prefer to go to Asia, so you find Thailand and the Philippines there. But also, you got some first world countries such as Canada, France, the UK, where you have cross-pollination. You have some folks from the first world moving into other parts of the first world. Nonetheless, there are reasons why some of these countries in this top 10 list are there. And I'm going to walk you now through the top 10, which are very commonly shared by folks who become expats. You got to understand also that the age breakdown is not necessarily extraordinary, meaning that this is very evenly split, although there is greater interest in becoming an expat by those who are from the older generation. 53% are Gen X or older, meaning boomers. But roughly 47% are already Millennials and Gen Z who are thinking of leaving and have actually taken the steps to depart. Now, each of these people, like I said, have their own reason to move, yet some of them will cross and be found as common denominators among them. And here I give you the top 10 from across multiple expat groups that I have spent hundreds of hours reviewing and participating in. These are filled with tens of thousands of members, so you can understand that whatever becomes prominent is because it's been said repeatedly over several years now. Let's now move into the top 10 reasons, and let's start with number 10 first. At number 10, cultural novelty is one very common reason why Americans and Canadians leave for other countries. The thrill of discovery is just too alluring to many of these folks. They're seeking for adventure, they're seeking for new experiences, they're seeking for something that will get their needle moving and give them a sense of purpose, a sense of life that provides meaning other than what they're already so very much accustomed to. They want to experience new cultures, meet new people, learn new things, new practices, new customs, and this enriches their lives. So cultural novelty is one of the top reasons, but not necessarily the very top one. At number 9, we find that seeking for better climate is important. They're tired, especially if they're from very far north, of the snow, the sleet, the freezing rain, the ice, especially the black ice that leads to accidents and often death as well. If you slip on it and hit your head, some of these folks are seeking for a more forgiving daily weather than those extremes. And even those who are in the south and maybe into very hot climates, very desert-like terrains, they would prefer more exuberant, more welcoming weathers, which could be up in the rainforest or in the cloud forests and down by the beach, possibly. Simply more forgiving, more willing to yield. Nonetheless, if you combine that with better cuisine, a better diet, better options for food that is unique, delicious, affordable, healthy, then these options will keep their palates very busy every day as they explore those new cultures. This is enriching for these expats. At number 7, we see that they combined all of the above with different life rhythms. A different pace of life is very important in this list because these expats are fed up of the rat race, of the endless deadlines, of the stress that the daily toil has required of them, in many cases for decades. So they're opting out of that, and they want more ample time to rest, to relax, to meditate, and to, as I said earlier, find meaning to their lives and something they could do with them that would lead to value, to contribution, to an improvement of not just their lives, but that of those around them. So moving on is one of the main reasons why these expats leave, and this is very much a common denominator with this community abroad, and it is that there is a better cost of living when you move to other countries from the first world. At number 6, we can see that they're benefiting from a stronger currency for the time being, and this makes their money able to buy them a better lifestyle for less. Some of them who cannot afford a house can afford to buy one and raise a family. Some of them who cannot afford the ability to move, and as we will soon see, healthcare, are able more easily to transport themselves because they can afford someone who can drive them around, or they may want no longer to have to be doing all the self-serve that is so customary of the first world. They would prefer to pay someone to come and clean their house, cook for them, and do the gardening, etc. So these things become affordable because labor is more economical in the third world, and the mighty dollar still commands sufficient strength to afford these folks a better lifestyle than the same amount of money could give them in their native country. At number 5, I alluded to this before, there is affordable healthcare. They continue to pursue after services that have been made trustworthy, and maybe you haven't known this, but it is true. For decades, medical tourism has made many services by very competent physicians and medical technicians abroad very much accessible price-wise and reliable scientifically, medically, to people willing to travel. From dentistry to orthopedics to cardiac care and many other aspects of medicine, you can go to other countries outside of the first world and gain very competent service from very reliable experts. And this is because They have been trained in the first world and returned to the third world to develop it, to improve their countries. And they have practiced sufficiently there to become experts in their field. So as an expat, if you go to one of these countries, you may be surprised to find exceptionally competent doctors who can very well take care of you. You could find yourself very well taken care of in hospitals in Mexico or Costa Rica or Ecuador or Thailand, Singapore. Quite competent, exceptionally so in many of these countries like South Korea, where you could also go and become an expat, Italy, France. At number 4, many of the expats who leave are very much motivated by a desire to detox from very corrosive politics. They're tired of the strife and the polarization they've been facing at home for years and years. They're seeking for a peaceful political neutrality they can only find abroad. So this is a very common theme that you find among expat communities when they explain why they left their country. They don't want to argue politics anymore. Bringing it down to the top 3 reasons why these folks leave, you got different family values, very much connected to the previous reason of detoxing from political strife. There are traditions, customs, and beliefs abroad that are more aligned with those of expats who have decided to go find that type of culture elsewhere. And consequently, they leave to find community among those who hold to beliefs or customs more aligned to the traditions that they used to cherish and defend in their own country until they became targets of the current culture. So this is one of the top reasons why you see many expats take their entire families with them when they move. At number 2, there is restarting life. Often you have folks who leave because they have just gone through a divorce. Maybe they become a widow or widower, or they're starting a new career, a new business, simply a new life, and they're motivated by this new beginning. So new beginnings may include crossing the border and going off to a whole new land with a whole new people to find your whole new self. And at number 1, you have never truly having felt that they quite belong where they were born. It may sound a little bit strange, but if you cannot find yourself among kindred spirits, you're not going to be happy congregating with those you have to deal with every day. And one thing that is very common to find in the expat culture is expats congregating as a kindred spirit. Just being an expat makes you a rather unique type of person. But then you find some of them behaving very much as we would expect the term to apply, immigrants. They're moving to another land to become part of that culture, part of those people who make that nation, and they're assimilating into it. They're becoming basically one with those people who are hosting them. And after some years, they simply don't want to return to the land where they were born. They leave home feeling more at home being abroad than any place else. And that is the spirit of an immigrant. So while you may possibly even shun this attitude about leaving your home country and may never see yourself choosing to do that, just understand some folks actually choose to do so for many reasons: opportunity, excitement, the lure of novelty and the exotic, the strange, but also necessity and ultimately fit. The knowledge that you have found someone, a community, a person a family that has welcomed you and made you part of their crowd. And now, as kindred spirits, you gather with them and you feel your life is complete, someplace farther than where your parents chose to give you birth. And that is a very common theme among those expats who have spent possibly even decades living abroad. Now, this means that living abroad is not for most people. But I like to let you become very much aware that if you do get the itch, possibly simply the curiosity to want to test this on your own, whether out of simply suspicion that this might fit you, or maybe simply you're beginning to sense that you might have a necessity in having to have that option available to you, keep in mind you're going to need the resources to make this move. That means basically money. So understand that if you get your money to follow you wherever you go on earth, that's when you'll have the means to experiment extensively, confidently, comfortably with the idea of living abroad. So my suggestion is to build a location-independent income source to start your location-independent lifestyle. And that's what I can help you achieve. All I ask you is that you click follow wherever you see it on this page, and you'll begin to get my material that will start to show you how to learn to build a location-independent income source that would enable you at some point, if you're interested, to start your location-independent lifestyle. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and also let me know, are there any reasons that you find peculiarly interesting that you believe will lead you to leave your country to live abroad? Thank you for your time.